Evening, folks. Welcome to live news and demo news. It's 8 o'clock. It's that time of the week again. It's Wednesday. I've got a packed show tonight. Two brilliant guests. One is John Lawrence, who's been an activist for the children for a long time and all injustices. I've also got Stan Robinson from the Voice of Wales as well. They'll be doing a few demos this weekend, and they'll be explaining why they go into them. So it's looking good, folks. But first of all, just like to have a shout out today for any admins who are interested in mods for my page on YouTube and live news and demo news. The page I'm definitely going to need some mods on, because I'll be doing. I'll be able to go see all your comments on my page now. So anybody that is on my Facebook profile, if you could all jump onto live news and demo news page, not the group, but the page, I'll be able to see all your comments. Even in that, hopefully, see, I can see, I can now see everything that is on the page on Facebook. So it's going to make life a lot easier for me. So folks, if you could please all share this as well, that'd be great. I'll be talking about what happened Monday. I've got some video footage of Monday as well, of the arrests, the batons being pulled. They're using the horses as weapons as well, which is totally out of order. The two-tier policing compared to Saturday with Scotland, how the police actually treated the protesters on Monday. Completely different. Right. John Lawrence has just disappeared, and he was going to be my first person on. So I'll just keep on talking for a minute. Yeah, so it was a good demo on Monday. I really enjoyed it. I had to do five lives, all down to the blocking of my signal. It was a green van partly involved. There was also coppers they had these little, it looks like beetles on their back. They're actually jamming equipment, so your lives can't get out, folks. So yeah, it was a quite interesting one Monday, and I can see John's back in a picture. And yeah, so and I'll be talking about the demos, which are on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. Also, there's loads more demos coming up over the next few weeks, and I imagine we'll all be busy. Now, okay, I'm going to welcome John on. He's actually a children's activist. Also, he does a lot of injustices as well. He supports a PTSD camp in Bath, and I'll bring him on now. Welcome, John. How are you tonight, mate?
I'm good. I'm a political. And I'm an everything activist. I'm an everything activist. All kinds of injustices, no matter what it is, I'm an activist.
Oh, that's good, mate. You how long have you been doing it then?
Well, I've been politically active since, like voting all my life. But the more activist stuff started about 2013. I'd spent 5 years in Bradford, come back 2013, and I started to look up, ended up joining up with UKIT, working with UKIT, delivering leaflets, going to demos and stuff like that. And then highly active in the past 4 or 5 years, especially since the Manchester Arena bombing.
Yeah, I can remember meeting you the first time. I think the proper first time I met you was down at the PTSD camp. That was the first time, or maybe it was Blackpool. I'm not sure. Did you go to Blackpool last year?
No, but what happened? I was going to go to Blackpool, but Kim Jones got arrested over something to do with Anna Roffery. So we went to Liverpool police station to get her out. And I think she would have still been locked up if we hadn't turned up. I started doing a live stream. We said on the live stream, there's 300 people at Blackpool. And on our word, they'll all come to Liverpool. And they let her out.
That's mad. That's my phone going. I forgot to turn the volume down on my phone. Yeah, so what are your plans for this weekend then, John?
Batley. It's the by-election in Batley, and also it's a place where the school teacher showed the picture of Mohammed. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that now.
And they called for violence against him. Now, 2018, Phil, during the Melanie Shaw hearing in Leeds, I was on a live stream and I was talking about Charlene Downs in Blackpool. And what I said was I wanted the kebab house burning down to the ground where she was murdered and more than likely chopped up for kebab meat. And 3 months later, I got a visit off counter-tourism. So they got me in. They did a profile on it and wanted to know what we're into. And they said you shouldn't have said that on a live stream because, you know, obviously you have a following. And at that time, I had a massive following. I had hundreds of thousands of views on all my videos. And I said, all right, then you want to know what I was doing with Britain First, because at the time I was in Britain First. But this incident that I'd said was before I joined Britain First. And I just said, I'm an activist. I'm against the Labour Party, corruption in the police. I started listing off cases and things that Oldham had done wrong and all that lot and stuff like that. And I said, I'm going to be running for a councillor soon. And I'm going to get into the political run. And so I got a visit off counter-tourism for saying that. Yet a teacher has been threatened with violence off a baying mob and nobody's been arrested and nobody's been, the Labour politicians, Kim Leadby to George Galloway, none of them have said anything. The main party, the Lib Dems, won't say anything. No one will say anything in the House of Lords. Who do these people think they are, Phil? So, by the good gods of gracious, I think I'm on the election. I'm going to be a vote election agent for the English Democrats. Yeah. And I've got the English Democrat candidate, Theresa Hurst, on my show tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. And she's the chairman of the deputy chairman of the English Democrats. And they've been going 10 years. So I pledged to help them. So I'll be up Batley helping them. And I've also got my video analysis and walkthrough of the Joe Cox killing, if anyone knows about that. And so that's what I've got. So it's all about Batley this month. It really is. Anne-Marie Waters is running with Formula One. Jada Franson's in it. David Curtain, Heritage Party. There's several small, like, in Yorkshire Party, this, that, and the other. Lib Dems, Labour, Conservative, they're all running. So I'm a vote agent, me. So I'll be in the vote hall when they're counting all the votes, stood next to George Galloway and that. So my intention is do everything by the book, go in, check the votes and all this lot, get outside and start live streaming and try question some of them. Because that teacher is now living in fear with his family. It looks like he'll never teach again. And it looks like he'll probably have a mark on him for the rest of his life. And even his school threw him under a bus, Phil. Even his school threw him under a bus. Now, if we're going to allow this, don't matter who's done it, I don't care what religious group or anything, if we're going to allow this on our streets, then we might as well all go out and riot. So we might as well go start smashing things up. And when a journalist gets threatened, and there was one chased around on Monday that you did the video footage for, right? People have been arrested for that. But this teacher, his life has been threatened with violence and no one's been arrested and nothing. No one's saying anything. Political correctness at the worst. Batley is really on level with Oldham. I've got a lot to talk about and I've got these issues of political correctness going across our country and it has to be dealt with. It really has to be dealt with. It's disgusting, actually. I wouldn't have to get involved, but I have to. I have to say something. It's just an injustice, Phil. We might as well throw away. We might as well not go to the police, and we might as well deal with everything ourselves. But we don't live in that kind of country. We're going to get arrested. I know for a fact that I'll get arrested for speaking out, me. Yet they won't arrest a baying mob asking for violence against a teacher. Honestly, I'm sick of it, Phil. We have to make a stand, and I'm going to be voicing. No one else will, but I'll say something. So I'm also good friends with Jada Franson. Jada's up there this weekend. I'm going to be meeting Jack Thompson. There's all sorts of people from all sorts of groups who I'm friends with. Even though I'm not a supporter of Anne-Marie Waters. I've got friends in For Britain, good friends who I've known for a few years. But I mean, Anne-Marie Waters, I might be supporting her now. I might be supporting Anne-Marie Waters right now if it weren't for Wake Up UK Jason and Busker.
Oh, well, I'm not going to mention Busker yet. That's in the pipeline in a few weeks. I am going to go after an interview with Busker. Hopefully, if I see him on a protest, I will ask him for an interview. But I'm not going to say any more than that because I better not. Because I'd like to interview him first and get his side of things, like I mean, before I actually do anything like so. That's in the pipeline, but yeah, good on you, mate. Getting involved with politics, I think that's the way to go because the only people who can make a change are the people who are in politics, and we have got such a corrupt police force at the moment. A two-tier system as well, as you probably know. We end up going on marches and we keep on getting abuse by the police. They raise the batons and everything else like that, like so, and they arrest people for minor offences, which is a bit stupid. It's a waste of money, absolute waste of money. Right, so tell me a bit about what's happening on the 17th of July, and I'm going up to support this one, folks. I don't care if it's a large demo in London or anything like that, but I'm going to this demo. So if you could explain.
17th of July, Phil, we're in Blackpool.
Yeah.
Blackpool was where Charlene Downs was. Well, she disappeared. She's never found any trace of her body. She's presumed dead. And also, evidence came through the police that one of the guys who was supposed to be charged with the offence said that she'd been chopped up and put in the kebab grinder. All right, it's no word of a lie. All from a shop called Funny Boys in Blackpool. Now, I mean, the two chief suspects were the Religion of Peace people, but it's just not about that in Blackpool. About Blackpool is a failure of every single service there, the police, the council, the social services, everybody, even people in the community failed Charlene. And she was more than likely raped by different men, even some white men, or abused. But we go on about Charlene a lot, but there were 60 girls identified at the time through the media. And this is 2013, or whenever it were. And but since then, that number has risen. There's been no official number come out, but that number has risen. How do I know that? Because I know a lot of activists in Blackpool who are working behind the scenes. I mentioned the other day on my Facebook, and I just said his name, and it's called Richard. And it's a guy I met a couple of years ago, got in contact on phone. He's worked closely with a lot of the families that have been involved in abuse. And there is ongoing cases, and there has been cases come and go. So that number of 60 could be considerably higher. But yeah, it's just failures of everyone. The police, there was a botched up police investigation. And
is it all right if I bring Stan on at the moment? He might have some input there as well. Stan, how are you, mate? Can you hear me?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
We'll just let John finish off what he was saying about the demo on the 17th of July. Carry on, John.
Thank you, Stan. You're right, Stan, pal.
Not bad, thank you.
The police investigation was a failure. The two chief suspects got 250 grand each, and then they were driving round in fancy cars and all that lot. And at the time, it was suspected that one of them had involved in some crimes, but nobody knew if this was official yet. But this Richard guy that I mentioned, the unsung hero, he ended up telling me that this guy had a conviction since Charlene was abused for abuse, done her sentence and got back out. You just couldn't make it up. Nothing in the news or anything. The police even tried to throw one of their own under the bus to, because of the failure in the investigation. There was a woman. It's easily researchable. All the facts are on the internet. I don't know her rank, a woman, and they tried to blame her for the failure of the investigation. And then when they did an inquiry, they found that she was not guilty. You know what I mean? The social services didn't do enough. They knew who was abusing Charlene. They knew lots of facts and details and didn't do nothing for whatever reason. The council never talk about it either in Blackpool. If you went up to any MP at the time, no, I don't know what you're talking about, you're racist, like that. Honestly, and this is even before we get to the ethnicity of the guy who raped her, and our councils and our services are shit. Look what's going through Liverpool at the moment, £100 million being ripped off of the taxpayer. We can't trust our councillors, we really can't. We can't trust the police. An individual policeman might be nice, but the overall group is not. They're against us totally. The individual man isn't, but the organisation that they stand for is. And it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Besides Charlene Downs, there was about 3 years ago, they started off nudist swims at Blackpool Sandcastle. And on my old Facebook at the time I was watching, it was a Saturday night, it was opening, I was watching him. And the paedophiles there identified nearly half a dozen guys going in for sex offences. And you can't just believe what they said. When you went to the paedophiles page, you put all the information up about the guys and pictures of them. And there was 5, I think, identified that there was definitely sex offenders going into the Sandcastle. So since then, they had the open one in Stoke. I've demoed at Stoke. We've demoed at the Sandcastle. Now they're saying that they're shutting them down or they're not doing them. But they're going to be starting nudist walks on Morecambe Beach. Now, if you want to go nude somewhere, it's up to you. But things have to be done to make sure that checks that them paedophiles don't get in. And when I seen that video, I was infuriated. Me right to Blackpool I were going, kicking off with the Sandcastle, emailing them and everything, saying how come they're not checked and things like that. And if we can't even do basic things like that, how can we trust that any of the system is right for letting our kids near that kind of danger and stuff like that? Look what happened to Tommy down in that Centre Parks thing or whatever it were. And so Blackpool's been well hit, but it's also been well covered up. There's a lot more to come out of Blackpool. I know a lot I can't say. There's ongoing cases I can't say about, but there is more to come out of Blackpool. And no one's been held accountable. Not one councillor, not one person from social services. The police had a bit of an investigation, tried throwing one of their own under. No one's been held accountable. You know what I mean? And if that isn't enough for anyone to get to Blackpool and support what we're doing, then I don't know what is.
What time is it on in Blackpool? I know it's on the 17th. Is it 1 o'clock?
Yeah, 1 o'clock. It was going to be at Winter Gardens, but I think they're doing it at Central. Is it Central?
It's opposite Blackpool Tower now because
that's Central, isn't it?
Yeah, central part of the Central Pier. Yeah, I did because a couple of the dates for the children's nights, it's all changed now, hasn't it? They've added Leeds instead of is it Glasgow? They've added Leeds. Yeah, they've added Leeds. Yeah. Is Glasgow still going ahead as well?
Yeah, Glasgow's still going ahead.
Right.
The issue that you've got is particularly in Greater Manchester, is that because the conurbation's so close, they just move around. So people that have been rebuked or investigated or chastised in Rochdale move to Bury. The ones in Bury move to Trafford. The ones in Trafford move to Salford. The ones in Salford move to Bolton, and it goes round and round and round. If you look at the steps and at Rochdale, for example, you had Cyril Smith, who obviously was a paedophile, but who do you write to voice your concerns? Cyril Smith. He was the MP. Where was his brother, Norman Smith? He was the leader of the council. And if you go on to Labour, if you look at the Reverend Paul Flowers, he was the guy that ran the cooperative bank and was found in the car with two rent boys snorting coke. But before that, he'd had 2 charges of public indecency in toilets with boys, but that was covered up. And then he became the chairman of Rochdale Social Services. So all this is linked. On top of that, you had Rochdale, well, at the time, it's Greater Manchester Police, but it goes back to when Greater Manchester fell into Lancashire. And, basically, you had the mindset of girls liking packies. And so that's what they were called, slags, they were called everything else. But it was they who actually were the perpetrators, not the victim. And that, when you've got a mindset in the police force, when you've got corruption at parliamentary level, and when you've got corruption at council level, then who can you turn to as an innocent person who wants to tell a story? You thought you'd gone to somebody who could help you, Cyril Smith, and he wasn't the case. And then if you look at the person that did try to help people in Greater Manchester, which was Geoffrey Dickens MP, you'll find that his file that went to, at the time, the Home Secretary got lost. Then his home got broken into. Then the agent's house, Liz, and I've forgotten her surname, I beg your pardon, but her constituency office got broken into because he said he had a duplicate file. Now, only people at the very top, MI6 or somebody of that ilk, SO15, they broke into those offices. They broke into Geoffrey Dickens's house. But of course, you can't say this because, of course, he's now dead, but the file's somewhere. And then 25 years later, all the notes for that file were shredded by mistake.
It's a bit like the corruption within, well, you're saying MPs and stuff like that, is when Theresa May was made Prime Minister in this country, she decided to have her father taken off the sex register. And that's fact. Well, as soon as she became Prime Minister, she took off her father off the sex register. And far as I'm concerned, most of these politicians are all in on it. Like, they are corrupt. They have got sick agendas, and it's all about money, like, as well.
No, I mean, they have. If you look at Harriet Harman's background, the fact that she was even involved with the paedophile information exchange, let alone be a worker there, you would think that she'd never have another job again. But where is she? She's a grandee. Absolutely scandalous. And the problem is that if you've got the lawmakers that are ignoring this, and you've got, particularly in Wales, where you've now got sex education being brought into schools, and the United Nations are saying that children have sexual rights from birth, then we are up the proverbial without a paddle. Yeah,
definitely. Somebody just put this up. This Kim Holder. She just found one advertised in Peterborough on the 12th of June. But that's gone, hasn't it? Or was that for next year, Kim? So there's still, I did actually see something was advertised. They were still going to go ahead with one of these naked swims. Sorry to interrupt you, Stan. It was just a comment that came up. Can you explain what you're going to be doing this weekend, Stan?
Well, first of all, happy Brexit anniversary.
We haven't got Brexit. Where you got that? We still got a high immigration, right? We're still paying off a 39 billion debt to the EU. We've still got a fishery problem. We've still got EU laws in this country. We've still got a united EU army.
We haven't left.
We haven't left.
Honestly, Phil, I've been asked a question on Twitter, and I've been saying this to Rita and Mank Dave. We have not left the EU.
We haven't. Name only.
You know what? I wouldn't like to have a drink with you two. I know I've had a drink with Phil, but that was a charity event.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right, mate. But come on,
Phil don't picking up the air rifle and shooting the bottle off me head, do you, Phil?
I have done that, but I even let you do it when you were drunk on my head. So you missed. I hit your bottle. So there you go, mate. Yeah, but come on, Stan. Brexit. It's got to be name only. Immigration's actually increased, and that was the main part of leaving it was immigration.
The official figures today. Have you seen the official figures today? The ONS predicted that just 3 million Europeans would register. So far, and they're now doing the big push, so far 5.6 million Europeans have registered to stay, and they're going to give another amnesty. So in other words, the end of this month isn't the end, but they're going to give another amnesty. But very interestingly enough, and I support the Poles. So the Polish are the largest, followed by the Romanians. And then further down is the Italians and the Spanish. So I think that's very, very interesting that all the broke countries in Europe have registered.
Yeah.
But there we go. So that's that. I do know what you mean, because of course me and you, Phil, well, in fact, all three of us wanted a no deal, no strings Brexit to pull out. And if I were to have an ideal fantasy, it would be to bring back or to reinstitute an English Bill of Rights, to pull out of the European Court of Human Rights and the United Nations. But hey ho, I have to live in hope. But to go back to this weekend, what's coming up is very interesting. We're first of all, we're hoping to do a detour either on the Friday or the Sunday to the BBC in Manchester to show our support to the guys that are camped out there, but also to report on that, and then go over to Batley and Spen to report on that. Now you may think, well, what's that got to do with Wales? It's got everything to do with Wales, because we have halal foods in Wales. We have female genital mutilation in Wales. We have, in fact, I come from, unfortunately, Browntown or Swansea, which is known as the capital of the heroin trade in Wales. So we've got a lot of connections, unfortunately, with Batley and Spen, not least of all the freedom of speech and the right for the teacher to live in freedom and live without fear. And I'm afraid that George Galloway is backing the wrong horse when it comes to the support of the Muslims, because we cannot allow in this country two laws. And at the moment, the United Kingdom government appears to be kowtowing down to Sharia law. And we cannot allow that to happen. No matter how well intentioned it is, if I want to show the fact that Muhammad was actually white, and that's what they don't want the images shown out there, then it's my right to do that. And if they are offended, they've got two options: be offended and write a letter of complaint, or switch off. Turn off your video, turn off YouTube, turn off our channel. But I've got a right, provided it's legal and provided it's within the law as it stands, to do that.
They won't need Sharia law. I went to a hustings in Manchester in the 2019 general election, and what the speaker brought up, they wanted the Conservatives to adopt the definition of Islamophobia.
Yeah.
So if ever that gets brought in, that's it. You're arrested. You're shut down. You know, they won't. You know, we won't have to worry about Sharia. We'll just get arrested and shut down. Honestly, and when I heard him say, everyone in the hall went, "Ray!" Serious things are coming.
You might actually get to see John, Stan, because John's going up as well on Friday. So he's supporting the UKIP candidate.
No. English Democrat.
Oh, English Democrat.
English Democrat. Although I've got a big up, right? I don't know if you know, I have two young UKIP lads on, 18 and 20 years old, respectively. I'm 54 and I ain't even running an election yet. 80% of the chat, 90% of the chat haven't run in elections, the 40 and 50-year-old. Yeah. So I have a lot of faith in these two young lads as our future politicians.
I'll tell you what, the UKIP candidate has gone up now for 10 days, and it's Jack Thompson.
Jack Thompson, yeah.
And the first thing he did was stand outside Batley Grammar School and admonish what's happened to that teacher. And that takes a lot of balls. And UKIP, actually, in Wales, had the best manifesto by far of all the other I nearly said religions. Pardon my.
Don't say that, mate. Don't say that.
Of all the other parties. I've got a lot of faith in Jack, and in fact, we're going to interview him on Friday if we can, and certainly we can try and get him on the program tomorrow. But of course, there's Anne-Marie Walters as well, and she's got more balls than Johnson. Mind you, it doesn't take much because they're teeny weeny balls that Johnson's got now, aren't they? In fact, his wife has got bigger balls than he has.
Yeah, you sure he's got balls?
None of them will say nothing. None of them big parties are going to say anything because he won't get any votes. Yeah. It's simple as.
Do you know what? I heard this is a very rare moment. I still listen to Radio 4, and it was a program. I was driving back, and it was just before Christmas, and it was obviously a put-up job because they wanted to take down the Conservative Party, and they were talking about Conservative membership, and it was, if you remember the term, gammons. So the average Conservative was 57 years of age, white, and gammony looking. Okay, and so they had a Conservative on, and I think he was the chairman, but I might be wrong. And he said, "We need to now try and find." And then they looked at the other stats for the Liberal Party and the Labour Party, and they were in the 20s. So the Conservatives said that we have to find new blood, and they are definitely going for the Indians. So everything that they are now doing is to kowtow down to a section of the community who actually, the Indians are a great set of people. They work hard in this country, but it comes to a point where you cannot kowtow to either, like the Labour Party are, the Muslims, homosexuals, stroke, the other 250 binary, blah, 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 and the minorities. You've got to stand for the country. And that's what these parties are missing. But UKIP, and I think, is it For Britain that Anne-Marie Walters stands?
Yeah.
For Britain. The English Democrats, they are also of the old school. They're trying to widen their message and get in as many people as possible. Whereas Labour, Conservative and Liberal are actually focusing on mass voting. And that's wrong.
Can I just say the Blackpool demo is organised by part of the organisation, beside Patriots, a Turning Point UK, which are the Young Conservatives. And I can't remember the lead who came to Manchester. I think he was called Jack, but definitely a group to look at is the Young Conservatives, the Turning Point UK.
Do you know what? I wouldn't now stand, if they invited me onto a programme, I wouldn't actually go on their platform because they are deplatforming people.
Who, Turning Point UK, really? Like
yeah,
who?
they refused Anne-Marie Walters, not Anne-Marie Walters, they were turning up at an event and Turning Point UK said, well, if she's going on the platform, we aren't.
Fair enough if they don't want to go down that route. I mean, I'm not going to go on Anne-Marie's platform either, but and it's not that it's not particularly that I disagree with her stuff. Her message is right about Islam, but For Britain just isn't my party really. So
no, I agree, but that's what debate's about.
Yeah.
I've been to platforms because apart from, well, actually you two are old buggers, so you'll remember. But when it was called the EEC, I've been to debates where you've had Tony Benn on the platform, you've had John Townsend MP, Teddy Taylor, Theresa Gorman, you've had other Labour Party people all on the same platform, and they're all berating the EEC as it was. And then as they disappeared, they went back to the normal politics again. But they shared a platform for a common purpose. And I do not believe, under any circumstances, that you should deplatform somebody because you don't like them. You've got to sit on that platform and you've got to put up with them, and then you can attack them on the platform. But to say, no, I'm not going on it, is not right. We're going down the slippery slope of socialism.
Is Children's Matter are involved as well? Because Bobby and Joseph are speaking, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Well, I mean that deplatforming thing. I just want to mention it, right? Because I got deplatformed off Wake Up UK, and the guy accused me of my mate grooming me because he got me to read books, right? And Anne-Marie's in with Wake Up UK. I'm all right, me normally. I get on with everybody. I've done 100 shows on that platform, and then I got deplatformed, and because of Busker and that, I try not to get involved with attacking other movements. But if I wanted advice of someone about Islam and the law and the Labour Party, there is only one person in the world I'm going to go to, and that's Anne-Marie Waters, because she studied law. I'm not going to go to Tommy Robbins. He's not a law. He hasn't studied law. He does know about Islam, but he hasn't studied law. But I'm all right with most people, me. But I mean, I've been attacked and deplatformed, and I'm just a regular guy, man.
I've been deplatformed more than the platform.
but again, it's not. The thing is with my philosophy, it's not all about Islam, because Islam only got here because of them scumbags in the government. Islam only because of.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. We've said
It was nothing to do with brown people. It was to do with our white leaders. Why we're in this shit at the right now.
In fact, Dan asked a very pertinent question when we were covering Penally, and he asked one of the inmates there, "Why are you here when you could have sought sanctuary in France?" And he said, "Well, if you want good or you want better, which one are you going to pick?" And that's the answer. As long as we have an open door, I don't blame any one of them coming in. And if we've got boomerangs, people that have come here, failed, left the country, come back, failed, left the country, come back, thrown out, left the country, come back, that's our fault. It's not his or hers. You know, we need to tighten up our borders. For God's sake, we've got a 22 at the minimum end mile moat around us. You would think on God's green earth that we could bloody well patrol it.
Yeah. So Stan,
can I just ask you about the UN 1951 Refugee Convention?
Yes.
Which is why if we wasn't in that convention, the people coming over on boats would be criminals and they'd just get sent back. But because of that convention, we have a duty of right to take them in and look after them. So I think right now that is one of the most important things that we should be looking at. And
the 51 convention was brought in because of the massive movements from East to West Germany and also the Cold War. And it worked very, 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 very well if you saw the genuine refugees in Bosnia and the Bosnian War. They were carrying bags and everything they possessed and their families on anything they could get, whether it was a horse and cart or a car. That is my view of a refugee. Somebody fleeing a place of persecution, and they hit, it happened to be Germany, the first safe place, and they claimed refugee status. And that has worked for a long, long, long time. It's worked for 60 years, and it's worked perfectly. And it was these lawyers like Cherie Blair that interpreted the law slightly differently, and the NGOs and the Save the Children, or that other paedophile organisation that actually interpret the law differently. And of course, we then had the Human Rights Act and the European courts, and of course they changed it all, and we're in this problem. But I am convinced that we do need to withdraw from the 51 Convention, or we need it amended greatly. And so it has to be that, because of course the Bosnians, when the war was over, they all went back. If you think about when Poland became free, we actually dug up Sikorsky's body, General Sikorsky, and he was buried in his native Poland because he didn't want to go back until it was free. And so these people were genuine. They went back. The current influx, they have got no possibility. They do not want to go back. They are economic migrants, but they realise that even if they're found to be economic migrants, they will be allowed to stay. And that's wrong. It's wrong when we've got a housing waiting list where veterans cannot get on it.
Can I just say something? Some of them do go back, Stan. Some of them do go back from Syria and Afghanistan. The Manchester Arena bomber was allowed to go back to Libya, even though he come over as a refugee. Oh, God.
So, Stan, what are your plans on the weekend then? I know you're going to support Anne-Marie Walters? You'll be interviewing
No,
her?
we're not going to support her. We're going to interview her. We are
Right.
journalists.
Yeah.
But what we are doing is we're actually going to monitor if she's allowed to go about her lawful duties under election law. And I believe that the West Yorkshire Police are a set of, and you can fill in the the 4-letter beginning with T and ending with T. They will not allow Anne-Marie Walters to actually do what she's supposed to be able to do, which is lawfully go and leaflet. So we're going to be observing that, and we're going to also test the atmosphere.
Good on you, mate. Good on you. Well, I'm going to the BBC on Friday. There's a demo outside the BBC at 1 o'clock. It's like a warm up.
BBC, London or Manchester?
London. I have got a little something sneaky planned for about 2 weeks, but if you're both interested, but it'll mean a trip to London. That's all I'm going to say. I only want 20 to 30 people to come, but you will like it when you find out. And I'm not going to say it on the platform.
I'm not going to one of your parties.
No, it's not a party, believe me. It's something that you would enjoy doing, I'm telling you. Yeah, so I'm going to go for the pre-warm-up at the BBC.
Yeah.
And then on myself, I'm going to go to London. So I'll be doing the big demo in London as well. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to discuss what happened on Monday. Okay. He's popped off for a minute, Stan, so you'll have to bear with me. Yeah,
sorry, the carers are here to sort my mum out, and I'll just I won't be a minute.
Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. Yeah, so I'm gonna go through what happened on Monday. Okay. First of all, I'm gonna put some of these comments up. So, Stan, did you see any of my lives on Monday?
No.
No? What do you mean, no? I watch all yours. You cheeky.
No, I think we were still coming back, weren't we?
Right. What I'm going to show you now is what happened on Saturday.
I've been promoted to captain, Ahab, and we were in Dover.
Right. So on Friday and Saturday last week, the Scots were down, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Right. I'm going to show a clip of this video, right? And tell me what you think, right? And what your observation is of it, right? Well,
Okay.
Just watch this for a minute. We'll still be able to speak.
One of them dropped it on the floor. Everybody, one of the old Bill that is hat nicked off of him. These old Bill are fucking crazy to get involved with this lot. They want to keep out the fucking way, I tell ya.
Yeah. So as you can see, none of those coppers had masks on whatsoever. Did you see that?
It's all a big game, Phil. You know, you cannot have you cannot have leaders of the world meeting at the G7 without masks, and all having a barbecue all together, and then suddenly pretending to be socially distanced for a photograph. Equally, I've seen several photos where people are in vans, police are in vans. They're not got masks on, and then they go out and they have got masks on. I understand that there are 89 people on the SAGE committee. and so you've got Hawks and you've got the other people. The one that they keep dragging onto the BBC, and I forgot his name for the moment, was the one that said that there was going to be nearly a million deaths when it came to COVID. And he was far, far wrong, even with the cooked up figures that we have now. He was still way out, and he was an eminent member of SAGE. You know, I believe, and I still believe now, that all COVID measures are wrong. That the something I was reading it today. There's a cheap drug that is readily available. It's been given to millions of people for other things, so it's safe, and that could have prevented us from going into lockdown. It could have prevented the economy from crashing. It could have prevented probably the many deaths that happened right at the beginning of this COVID event in the care homes. But for some unknown reason, we're playing along to something that's beyond our powers and our understanding. But it's not deadly. It's 99.98 where people survive. And as I kept saying on that freedom demo, that you've got more chance of a turtle dropping on your head than you have of catching COVID and dying from it. So why don't people walk around with crash helmets on their head?
That's right, mate. Yeah, so you saw all those coppers without any masks on at all, right, Stan? And then I'm just going to play another short clip, right?
Now he puts it on, folks.
Right. What I did all day, mate, that was from Monday, okay? As you could see, all the rest of the coppers had their masks on. But what I observed through the day was all the senior officers, like the Gold Command, the sergeants, the inspectors, none of them were having their masks on when they were talking. The masks weren't on properly. They were under their nose. Some of them didn't even bother putting them on. The people in the fans didn't have any on. But how can they justify it when the normal PC all had to wear their masks on Monday, because obviously it was a lockdown protest? But then on the Friday and on the Saturday, none of them were wearing masks at all. I just don't understand it. Like, I do not understand.
Well, it's all perception, isn't it? If you had an anti-lockdown march and demonstration, and you had the BBC covering it, then questions would be asked. But if you have a child abuse march, then they may have thought, well, it's not required to wear a mask.
But if it was a child event, a protest, they would be wearing their masks yet again, mate. It was only because
the inconsistencies are absolutely blinding. You know my stance on this. We told the police that we're not going to pay the fines. We're going to plead not guilty and take us to court. And that was in February, was it? March. And we're in the middle of June, end of June, and they've not replied. They've not emailed us. They've not telephoned us, despite us asking for the evidence to be produced on what they're going to charge us with.
It took them 9 months to get me into a courtroom, mate. That's how long it takes. Gavin Malone just got off with 12 charges of the COVID. 12 charges he got off with. They threw it out of court, mate. So any chance of it going to court, you want to go to an English court, mate. You're going to have more chance to get out. And by the way, that Scottish video was courtesy of Brexit Brian. And I tell you what, that hit over 85,000 views, mate. That video did. Yeah. He was in the right place at the right time, mate. So thank you, Brian. Thank you very much.
No, and that's full enough. That heads nicely on, because we have to stand together on this. You know, we've got to put away our petty differences. And if you've got video that you think we could share, which you do anyway, and the opposite way as well. And you know, these egos that are keeping right-thinking people away from platforms and away from speaking to each other. We need to put them down, and we need to actually unite, because that's the way the Conservatives keep in power. That's the way the Labour Party keep in power, and the Liberals keep in power, and everyone else for that matter. You know, that's why Extinction Rebellion, and who should be actually branded as terrorists after the last episode that they've just done. Did you know that they've broken into the enclosure, dressed the staff? That is a terrorist attack. I'm sorry. To go for a 94-year-old lady, our monarch, to do that is disgusting.
There is. I've got another issue about Monday. Well, I've got quite a few of them, mate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you something now, mate. And let's see if I can get the first one up, because there's two videos. There is. This is the first one.
See, that's a little green van, undercover van. I think you can't see it. It's a surveillance van, folks.
Right, mate. That was the one picture. Okay, a short video, and I'm going to show you the other one.
There is Gaza. As you see, the police vans. Oh, look what we got here. The green van from earlier up in the Speaker's Corner. Face recognition van. Right, mate.
That van, okay, is a surveillance van. I was told after it's got the capable, because when we went to Hyde Park first of all at 8 o'clock, there was only 25 of us. We were actually going to go and protest outside the Bank of England and stop them going into the Bank of England, see? But that van turned up, and there was loads of TSG there. There was only 25 of us. I mean, it was just like a pre-meeting spot for us. And what I found out afterwards, it was a surveillance van, mate. They were probably watching my live feed, but I didn't mention anything on the live feed because I had a funny feeling, mate, because they can actually jump onto your phones. They can actually watch where everything you're doing. And plus it was a face recognition van, mate. So for them to do that without authority to really, because they obviously didn't get authority to spy on us, because they were spying on us, weren't they? At the end of the day, if they're tapping into our phones or watching my live feeds, then as far as I'm concerned, that's just outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. And that van has been stopped. And that van actually does do your signaling as well, mate. It blocks your signal. That van is kitted out.
Yeah, that's SO15, that minimum, or 77 Brigade.
Yeah.
What they do is they can block, they can delay your lives so that there's a delay on it, and they can prevent bombs going off as well. You know, they can do quite a lot from that van. But yeah, that feeds straight into GCHQ, and it operates above the police.
Yeah, at the end of the day, mate, they still got to have a court order to do something like that beforehand.
Do they?
Yeah, well, we're not terrorists. All we are is protesters, and I'm a filmer. I do films, and that's it. You know, I'm not there to
if you look at the act, and forgive me because it's a long time since I've had a look at it. but it's something like the British government will not spy on British subjects without a warrant. So what happens is that gets beamed to somewhere like Alaska, and then beamed straight back. And so it's the CIA that are actually spying on you technically.
Yeah, but it's breaking my privacy. It's my privacy.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
are you talking about looking at live feeds and that, did you say?
No, I just showed two videos. One at Hyde Park in the green van there, right? It's a surveillance van, there is, John. And they got the technology in there to watch your, to listen to you as well. Because they got their listening equipment in it.
They can jam your signals. They can delay your phone. They can actually read all your conversations on your phone, and they can read your contacts list. They can do everything with your phone.
Thing is, they can watch me live stream. I want them to. And you know what, right? If they want to go through my phone, they can. I ain't got nothing illegal on it. I'm not a paedophile. I don't have any secret numbers for Combat 18 or anything. But no, you're right.
That's it. Throw a few trigger words out, will you?
Yeah, that's right. Get me checked off YouTube as well. Again. Right. There was actually a funny moment as well that I found on Monday. I thought it was a funny moment. All right, let's have a quick look.
So right. Can I give you a scenario? So yeah. So you've got a big coat on. The people don't know what's under that coat, and you're receiving a message from somebody that is on the terrorist list, and they don't know whether that's a signal or a trigger, and that's why they can delay your phone. They can block your signal. They can block your messages. They can do everything with your phone. Your phone is not yours when that green van's around.
Yeah, Stan, there's one problem with that. I was talking to, I'm not going to say their names, right? They're actually in the special branch. Now, back in the 80s, what the IRA used to do, they used to do it by phones. And that's how they used to set off bombs, right? But what used to happen after that was, because the IRA got used to it, that their bombs were getting stopped. What they actually did is, as soon as they blocked the signal, the IRA were very clever. As soon as they blocked that signal, the bomb would go off. It would trigger a bomb. You know that, don't you? So if they think blocking your feeds and stuff like that, if you were a terrorist, they would technically would be setting the bomb, a bomb off. Like the IRA, a lot of the bombs which went off in this country and in Ireland, they were actually set off by our own troops, mate. You realise that, don't you?
We've moved on since then, and technology has moved on since then, and everything, fortunately, relies on Wi-Fi or it relies on a signal. And they can if they want a bomb to go off, they'll let a bomb go off. If they don't want a bomb to go off, they can stop it.
Yeah, there is. We'll get off that subject now, right? Like I said, I want to show a little clip.
But no, they're getting by the way, themselves, and they don't even realise it. Hopefully, more numbers will turn up.
Right, you missed the beginning of it, right? What I actually said on it was the police were getting kettled back, because at one stage down by Downing Street, they had a line of people on one coppers, but then there was loads of people behind them as well. So this is what we should be doing on demos. We should be kettling the coppers back. If they think they're going to kettle us, the ones on the outside circle should come in and kettle them back, because the way they act.
You're using military tactics there, because of course the army used to do that. when they were fight, you know, when they were doing mock battles with the police
Yeah.
at Hounslow. Actually, I've done it myself.
Yeah, it's like a pincer movement, isn't it? At the end of the day, you're going in there, and what you're meant to be doing, they're trying to kettle you. So instead, if you've got people on the outside, you want to kettle them back. So then they feel vulnerable. So every other officer has to turn round, and that's how they deal with it.
The thing is, it's evolved slightly since then, because of course you've got more female officers, so you go for the female officers, and of course the male officers then try and protect her because it's natural for the male to protect them. And so what they've effectively done is that they've effectively weakened their line because they are the weakest link.
Yeah, but that's what they do on the demos, mate. These coppers, they go for the females. Do you mean female protest? But most of the arrests are for females because they go for the females, thinking that the men are going to fight back.
Yeah.
Do you mean? Yeah. And that's what they do. Yeah. They instigate.
That's why it should be the other way around as well. You see.
Yeah.
They're human as well.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to show you another clip.
Not that either of us are advocating fighting the police.
No, definitely not, mate.
It's just a tactic.
Yeah, well, I don't condone fighting, mate. I'm a peaceful protester. I might lose my mouth a little bit, but right. Let's play this clip.
Did somebody say here?
Using horses as weapons now. They're not happy with truncheons. Not happy with truncheons. Now they're bringing in the horses, folks. Another weapon. Parliament Square, please.
Right, mate. They brought in the horses. Now, as far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't have brought in the horses. One, it's not right. It isn't right. Because they've already got the batons as weapons, but now they're bringing in something which is half a ton or a ton in weight against protesters.
Yeah.
Do you think that's right or wrong?
No, none of it's right. None of it's. We shouldn't actually be protesting because we should be living our lives, Phil. You know.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, I just find it disgraceful that the police force, the week before, when there was 2,000 to 3,000 people there was like 20, 30 police, and there was one arrest all day. Do you mean? And that was at the end because the numbers started going down. Now, because there was only 500 or 600 people there, they turned up in force, mate. Do you mean? It was like 150 to 200 coppers. Why did they need 6 police horses as well? Just to hurt people? Because that's what it was.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we blocked that road the week before for 6 hours. I mean, Whitehall was shut. And this week, entirely a different thing because the politicians wanted to go into Parliament.
Well, Mayor Khan, isn't it, as well? Don't forget, he's probably our worst enemy in this country.
Oh,
if there was a war, he would be hung because he's a traitor.
Yeah, there's a few of them, mate. It'll be like that. Near enough every politician has committed treason and genocide. Totally bang out of order. I'm going to show a couple more arrests. I'm going to show you some arrests on Saturday as well. Right, you see the horses.
No, they're not happy with truncheons. Not happy with truncheons. Now they're bringing in the horses, folks. Another weapon. Parliament Square, please. Corrupt. Can you see? Now here comes your arrest, folks. Using horses to assault people.
Right, and what happened there was, at the beginning of the film, the horses started coming in, the man and the woman started walking forward, but because they weren't walking fast enough, the police decided to pounce on them and then decided to have them for the 4E, which is obstructing the highway. But the way that they were treated, they were actually walking away. They were actually walking away. So why the arrests? Because they've been told they had to get arrests to justify the manpower.
So this was blocking Parliament and politicians going into Parliament.
Yeah, basically they wanted the politicians having a free reign of going in. See, that's what it was all about.
I agree with that, Phil.
What? Bringing out arresting people?
No. That MPs, members of Parliament, should be allowed to go into our democracy. Even though I hate what they're saying in there, but
it's not democracy, mate.
Well, I know that. I live in hope. You know, I really do.
Yeah, it's a communist government. At the end of the day, because of what happened the week before, they were not going to allow us to block the roads. As simple as that. And if they really wanted to get into Parliament, mate, we didn't block it at all. Because at the end of the day, they've got the main entrance outside Parliament. But a bit further down next to the park is the other entrance which they go in. And we never blocked that all day. But obviously,
I'll let you off.
yeah, there's two entrances. And if anybody used any common sense, they should have blocked both entrances, stopping them going in, like far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Or block them coming out.
Yeah. I mean, the point is that Extinction Rebellion climbed the scaffold, and they throw things down, and of course they block everything up, and they don't get arrested. It's just ridiculous. You know, they do pick and choose who they're going to arrest and who they're going to pick on. I agree with that, but we mustn't allow we must allow free access to Parliament, because of course not only do we allow them in, we also allow people that are going to complain about Parliament also to be allowed in.
You're not allowed in, by the way, mate. You're not allowed in to lobby anything.
No, not at the moment. Is that because of COVID? I presume it is.
Yeah, you're not allowed in there, mate.
Phil, what's your YouTube channel called?
It's Demo Welshman, mate. It's
Right.
Demo Welshman. My last one got taken down because I was on a demo at the large one in London, because I had a couple of trolls on my site, and because I had a couple of interviews with Corbyn and that. They give me my third strike, so I lost my YouTube channel. So I've had to start all over again. So I won't have anything about that on there, because it just gets you taken down otherwise, mate.
Well, believe it or not, we've been taken down off YouTube again. However, we had something like about 20 followers on there because it was a secret channel.
Yeah.
So they are attacking us all the time, Phil.
Yeah, it's just absolutely bonkers, mate. Right, there's another feed I want to show you, mate. And what are your thoughts on this? Because if you agree with this, you're part of the problem, mate. I'm telling you.
Well, you know that anyway. You've been drinking with me.
Yeah, I know.
Mucho.
So, folks, this is our police force. All buttons all out. Can you see all the buttons? This is the British police, folks. This is the British police. British police with buttons. Not happy with it.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
All their police buttons.
Hang on a minute.
Weapons in our hands. Do you mean?
Right.
But you are. You're standing there with a baton out. Just put it away like the rest of your colleagues. Your colleagues have put them away. So just put them away.
Right there, mate. Right, the pair of you. What do you think? Them bringing out batons on unarmed people. What are your views on that?
First of all, it's unjustified if they don't believe that they're in imminent danger.
Yes, Dan. Well, they weren't in immediate danger at all. At the end of the day,
then in that case, then somebody needs to make a complaint because they've unlawfully drawn that baton.
I spent 10 minutes, well, 5 to 10 minutes talking. A lot of them did to put their batons away, and as I walked back round, they still had their batons. You had one without a baton, the other one had a baton. All half the circle didn't have any batons, the other half did. And like I was saying on the live, we're not a threat to you. So why have you got your batons out? We're peaceful protesters. You're the one who's doing this. We haven't got any weapons. Do you mean? So I can't understand why the police force are actually pulling them out, mate. And they did go to hit people.
That needs to go to a police complaint because they are not justified in any way, shape, or form to draw their batons unless they believe that they are in imminent danger, and they obviously weren't. There was no. I saw nothing being thrown at them. I saw no abuse being shouted or loud heckling, except for you. And that wasn't, you weren't threatening somebody, you weren't doing anything. So as we've got a retired police inspector on our team, he would actually say the same thing.
Yes,
there was no justification for him to draw that baton.
Well, they all drew their batons in the beginning, mate, because they arrested one guy, they pulled him to the floor. I do mean all he was doing is blocking the road. That's all he was doing. They pinned him to the floor, and then they all surrounded him. There was like 30, 40 officers with their batons drawn. Now, and everybody around them was just telling them, put them away, put them away. Do you mean? I can't believe that demonstration compared to last week, the week before, the massive comparison. There was like 9 arrests that day. And it was like a third of the numbers, but then the cops increased tenfold. So that tells you the problem is because they increased the police presence, so they were forced to do more arrests to justify them being there. But pulling the batons on the general public, I pay their wages, I pay their taxes. Do you know what I mean? I don't expect they work for me. They don't work for the government. They work for me. I don't expect a baton to be threatened at me.
Absolutely, but I mean, you saw when Danny Roscoe came to Swansea, and immediately that we turned outside of Wine Street, the police got out of the vehicles and they cautioned us and they threatened us with fines. Not one single person from Black Lives Matter got any of the same treatment. Same demonstration, same police officers. Not one of them got that. And in fact, we understand that a load of people that came from by rail to Swansea were told that they would get arrested and jailed. They weren't going to any demonstration, so the best thing for them to do is get back on the train and go back. So 50 or 60 demonstrators got sent back without even ever touching Swansea. That's the kind of policing that we've got in Wales. It's one where they judge you by skin colour, actually.
So what do you think about batons being pulled then, John? Peaceful protesters.
They've done it loads of times to me, and we've been like in similar situations like that. They probably do it to get a reaction, then get it on film, like you've said before. I think that's the major reason they do it. I've never I've not seen any battens I've not seen a line of coppers all going hitting people yet.
I have, mate.
Not been on that, but I know it has happened. But they've drawn them on us loads of times. And I think it's just to get that reaction, click, 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 and then you're all nasty people.
They actually started hitting people in Trafalgar Square last September, mate. The TSG came in. I knew they were coming in. They went straight through the crowd. They got kettled themselves. There was no way out. So they decided all they were after was the speakers. And they brought the batons out. And once one copper started battering, that was it. Using the baton, they all started, mate. I had that on film last year as well. As far as I'm concerned, they're just paid thugs. That's all I said to them. Paid thugs, mate. And that's what they are. They don't serve us any longer, I don't think. I don't.
Well, they've actually forgotten their oath, Phil, which is why Voice of Wales has T-shirts with their oath on the back. So if you go to voiceofwales.com, you can buy our merchandise.
Yeah, Dan's asking. Ask Dan if he's using his glowing ring. That's private show.
Which one?
Yeah. So right. Right.
You'll never embarrass me, Mr. Watkins.
You heard me? Can you see the comments?
And Morgan, no, I can't.
Well, I can, mate. I can see the comments.
Hold on.
I've just.
Oh, my ring is glowing now.
Dan's it. Yeah, I bet you're glowing now. That's called your butt plug, mate. All right. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you where the police haven't got a clue about the law. Okay.
If you're on the tarmac, not on the pavement.
Sir, what we're asking, if you let me listen, if you listen to me for 1 second, is that you can move out the way so that we can get on this bit so we don't get hit by traffic. That's all we're asking.
Well,
I'd rather not get hit by traffic.
well, you might not want to be, but he's got a right to be there. All of them have got a right to be on the pavement. That's the pavement. You can't move people off the pavement because you feel like you want to stand there. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't take the law into your own hands, sir. You can't. You are. You're trying to, and you can't. You can't. I don't have to listen to you. Not a favour. We don't give favours. Look what you're doing. Look what you're doing. You call that favours. You're allowed to obstruct the road on a march. Or don't you realise that?
You have to do it in a controlled way.
Yeah, and we are.
Meaning, sir, that traffic can still.
Right. First of all, now the guy who was getting told off, right, by the copper to move off, right, in Downing's end of Parliament, there's like a railing where the lights are in between the roads. Now he was on the outside of the railing, but he was on above the curb. So the copper was trying to make him move off a curb, like. He was breaking no law. He wasn't on the tarmac. Do you mean? So obviously he didn't know his law. Vote England, Democrats.
Well, actually, the curb or the footpath is part of the highway. So he possibly didn't. He possibly didn't know his law, but I do. However. Extinction Rebellion blocked that road. Everybody else, the Great Unwashed blocked that road. So why can't we?
Yeah, they did it for days, mate. They did it for weeks.
Absolutely. They also climbed onto underground trains. They also, they did lots of things, and they still do. And it seems as though it's one that they burned the Union flag. They jumped on the most sacred of memorials in the country. And that's to our dead.
They got a fire engine with 19,000 litres of red dye into central London, spraying it on buildings. Imagine if that had been a terrorist bomb.
Yeah, yeah. That could have been a dirty bomb. You're right, and
Yeah,
that's why I believe that Extinction Rebellion actually should be classed as a terrorist organisation, because they've gone far beyond peaceful protesting.
Yeah, they've gone a few steps too far. Like, but what I'm trying to say about
until you get rid of Dick of the Yard and Cock of the Yard and Khan of the Yard, then you know we're fooked, and that's a Latin phrase.
Yeah, John, do you know the law about on a protest how long you can stay in one place?
I'm guessing you've got to have organised that with the police if it's an organised protest. But what I do know is that you can go on any road as long as you're leaving one side of the road open. And
as long as you leave one lane open,
and you keep walking.
No.
Actually, if you decide to cross the road on a pedestrian crossing or a pelican crossing, I think is which is the one that's just got the beacon that just flashes.
Zebra crossing, that is.
So a zebra crossing, as long as you're moving, then you can hold up the traffic all day.
Right. That march, that protest was actually organised. It was actually organised to go back and forth, up and down from Parliament Square to Downing Street. Now, with a protest, a march, you are allowed to stop in one place for 8 minutes. And this is law, mate. You can stop in one place for 8 minutes. And then if you move and walk a few yards or 100 yards or whatever, you can stop again for 8 minutes.
That road.
Yeah. Long as you leave the one lane open. And that's it. That's all you have to do. But they were just bully boys, mate. Bully boys.
Yeah, in fact, now that I've worked out how chat works, Blue Light is absolutely correct. That Black Lives Matter and Stinky Rebellion should be prescribed organisations. They are terrorist organisations. They want Britain to fail.
Yeah, of course they do, mate. They want to they want to get rid of our history and everything, mate. They're not quite happy until everything is ruined in this country and it's not British any longer. As simple as that. Like,
well, there's loads of them. There's Diane Abbott also goes in that. There's Alibi Brown, who keeps promising to leave, and I'll pack her bags if she does buy the tickets, but she never goes. She's just a loudmouth. What is she? I've forgotten. From oh God, Jordan, I think she is. She's a loudmouth who shouldn't be in this country, full stop. And there's lots of them.
Yeah, right.
Another one to do with Extinction Rebellion. Activists smashed windows at the HSBC, Canary Wharf, and they also smashed windows on an oil company. And they got acquitted. They didn't get charged with anything, even though they caused over £25,000 of damage on the windows. So, I mean, if I decide to go and do something that might damage something and it's in protection of like the abuse of our kids, do I get charged? Can I get acquitted? We should look at that case for, you know, as something to look back at and say, well, they did this, right? So, and you're trying to charge me or with something, you know, something like that. But it's ridiculous.
Actually, that is the great independence of the British judiciary, because there were members of Greenpeace, I think it was, who are the Green and Common Women, who actually invaded United States land at RAF Green, Green and Common and at Lake and Heath and Mildenhall, and they actually also got acquitted because they put up a jolly good case. Mind you, they had international lawyers that were defending them, but I actually think that sometimes it is worth the odd loss where me, you, and Phil believe that they're bang to rights. The judiciary turns it over because actually they actually work in our favour as well.
Yeah, Stan. Right, I'm going to show you a clip now. Right.
Listen, my batteries are dying because you said we won't go longer than 2100 hours. You
I thought we were.
knobber.
I've got more to say actually. So
yeah, I didn't expect it to go on for so long tonight, but I'm going to show you another clip because you won't stop talking, Stan.
Same two blonde ones out again from last week.
Get Boris out! 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 Get Boris out!
Target free that way onto P square, please.
Don't abuse your rights. I want to go over there.
Where to?
Over there. But
Right. What actually happened there then, Stan? I actually got assaulted by a police officer. He actually put his hands on me. He pushed me back with force, and as I even had my press pass on. Do you mean, Stan? And I wanted to go across the road. He was trying to kettle me into a kettle, and I wasn't having any of it. And do you mean I wanted to film from the other side? And he actually put his hands on me. I have got his number now, and I will be making a complaint against the Met Police because they shouldn't have done what they do. They're not allowed to put their hands on you.
No, I agree. He will probably justify that in that he did tell you to move, and he probably wasn't listening to you. In all honesty, Phil. I mean,
No,
we've got me and Dan went to the Israeli demonstration where there were actually Secret Service operating undercover in the crowd. You know, they were sort of doing this in plain clothes, but you could see what they were doing. And then you had some in the inner circle that had their hands in the pockets. Presumably, I don't know, but presumably they had small arms there. And we went up to the goal commander. We said, we're pressed. Can we go into the inner circle? He politely said, not yet. Come and see us again in half an hour. We did, and we got in. So all I can do is suggest that on all of these demonstrations, you make your presence felt and known to the goal command, to whoever is in charge, and ask, make sure that their officers know that who you are, and hopefully you won't get assaulted. But it is an assault. You're quite right, Phil, and you should take it. You should go down the complaints route.
At the end of the day, Stan, if I did it to a police officer, I would be arrested for assault. Do you mean I would be looking at prison? Now, because he's done it, he'll say it was reasonable force, but I don't class it as reasonable force for me to cross the road. No. It don't justify it.
No, I agree. Did you show him your pass?
Yeah, well, my pass is always on me, but yeah, do you mean he can see his plain sight. He could see my camera was in my hand, and I explained that I want to go across the road. Eventually let me cross the road, mind, but I'm just finding it really hard. I am, to be honest with you, with some of these coppers who just take advantage. They abuse people. They're paid thugs. They pull their batons out. I just think it's bad order.
They are. I agree. But at the end of the day, we need good, independent, free-thinking police. And they should go back to their oath. If they don't believe a crime is being committed, don't intervene. If they haven't seen an assault or an incident, they cannot go like this and be taken and get orders and say, "Oh, arrest the guy with the flat cap." because somebody above him has said, arrest the man with a flat cap. That's not how it works in this country. A constable is an office, and they have to police with our consent. And unfortunately, the way that the police are now operating, it's become political.
Yeah, it's just totally wrong what the police force is actually doing in this country now, mate.
Who else would make the Chief Constable of South Wales, from Doncaster, from Yorkshire Police, who presided over the grooming of kids for years and years and years and years and years. So in other words, and we go back to social services, one Labour authority is moved across the country into another country, actually Wales, South Wales, and he's taken up by another Labour authority, and he becomes Chief Constable. And at the end of his tenure, he says that he thinks we should have shooting galleries for heroin and other drugs publicly available on the streets, and that those types of drugs should be declassified, and prostitution of all sorts, and we've got children that are prostitutes in Swansea, should go without a criminal record or should not be taken off the streets. And that's the Chief Constable that's just left.
Yeah, he's the old Chief Constable used to be. He was actually in Oldham, wasn't he?
No, he was in Yorkshire. He was in Doncaster, I think. I think that's right. But I could. But it's one of the major grooming towns. But he said at his interview that he wasn't aware. Now it's impossible. I've worked at Defence Geographic Centre at Feltham, and which is intelligence actually. And every Monday morning, because of my rank, I sat in on intelligence briefings, and I went through the whole of the intelligence briefings for the UK, that what was a threat to the UK, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, all the way down to number 15, right, or 16, or whatever it was. And domestic terrorism never went above 6, if I'm being perfectly blunt. And the one that went to 6 was Operation Olympics. So I know the structure. So I know that he lied at his interview, and he would have been sat in on briefings if he wasn't personally responsible for the intelligence of grooming gangs. He would have sat in on those intelligence briefings, and he lied. But now he's been promoted and he's gone to London. So guess what? If you think Cressida Dick or Cock of the Yard is the worst, you've got people up that greasy pole that's coming behind them that kisses their butts.
Yeah, well, Blue Light has just said now one of Cressida Dick's top team. That's what he is. He's part of the top team of Cressida Dick's.
There you
so
go.
It just goes to fucking show.
Yeah, because they drop the virtue signal all up the greasy pole. So we've got another one at the moment that's just mentioned. I'm happy to see that we've got 3 women commanders in Swansea.
Yeah.
So that's not for you or I. That's for his boss. So that his boss says, "Oh yes, he's obviously looking at promoting women." And he's mentioned also that we haven't got a BAME commander. So tick. Not the best person for the job, but a BAME and a woman. And that's where the police force has gone wrong. They've gone political.
Right, I'm gonna give away a free T-shirt now. Right, it's going to be a question online. Whoever answers it first. What time? What? It's a size large, so I'm not going to change this one because I had to change the last one because it was. Or Jackie won their the one last week, but I have to change it because she's extra large.
Extra small.
So
You've got. That's why you're single, Phil. That's why you're single. Single.
So I'm giving away a large T-shirt this week, and the question is going to be, what time was meeting at Hyde Park on Monday? All right, folks, don't go say anything, Stan. I have mentioned it already, what time it was. So anyway, whoever says the correct time and the first person to say it, then they'll get a T-shirt. I'll send it out to them. They just send me the address, and that's it. They'll get it. Right, on Saturday there's a demo in London, a large one, but also you've got demos around the country as well. You've got Norwell Farm, which they've got an Armed Forces Day. That's starting at 12 o'clock, folks. So if you can join it, that'll be great. You've also got Rolling Thunder in Bristol. Now, some of the people from the PDSD camp are going on bikes, so hopefully they can bring some bikers back to the camp as well afterwards for the Armed Forces Day. So that'll be happening on Saturday as well. The PDSD camp is a great thing to support. What are your views on it, John? The PDSD camp?
Oh, I love the camp. I've seen it develop from nothing. First time I went 3 years ago, there was just a tree house that Dolly and Tia used to have, and the pod. And now they've got 2 jacuzzi. They've made the summer house. They've increased the size of the bunk area. There's loads of room for tents. They've got a shower and a toilet in a horse box, and they've got other toilets as well. I love the camp, and we should support it at all costs. But I mean, they've been through a bit of difficulty when they got raided, and I'm still working on that because I contacted the firearms department and asked them why did they go on to the camp, and why did they do that? And it's definitely a fit up, and I'm not going to stop reporting on it because I'm just putting together 2 videos, one about the camp and how it's developed, and one about the raid. And I'm not going to go easy on the police or anything. I'm going to slag them off, and as soon as I find out the boss of the police who were on it, I'm going to be down at his offices. We have to do this.
He resigned, mate, on the Saturday afterwards. He did. He resigned on the Saturday afterwards because they spent so much money, mate. It was over, doing close to £500,000.
But I've been to the camp for 3 years. It's nothing of whatever they thought it was. I just don't get it, mate. And
no charges were brought. No bail conditions. No bail. They've still got the camp's Joe's money, which she was saving for a car. What else? They've still got loads of their belongings. They've got their phones. They've still got and they still haven't given it back. So
they're just doing it because they don't like them, because they have a different view. It's as simple as. But getting back to calling people out, there was 3 or 4 top policemen in Rotherham investigated to do with a scandal. I haven't got the names on thingy, but we have to call these people out. We have to call these names out. We have to protest against them. And if that one of them policemen has moved to Wales, then you should be outside his offices telling him his failures of what he did in Rotherham and letting everyone know what kind of policeman we've got. And that's one of the things that I'm going to focus on now. As soon as I get evidence that someone's been against us for the wrong reasons, I'm going to be protesting outside their offices. And, in the areas where they live, if it's a social services manager, we're going to be outside the social services screaming their name at the top of the blast. It'll be all over me, Facebook and YouTube. And too often, we stay silent on things like this. We do focus on protecting our kids and all that lot, but we stay silent on those who cause this, who are in the background, who've moved on. In the Rotherham scandal, when the council walked out, they just walked out into other areas and new jobs, just like that policeman's done, and stuff like that. And we shouldn't allow that. That shouldn't happen. So as soon as we know someone's moved, we get to that area and we broadcast their name and tell them what they've done.
He's in London now, mate. He's in London. He's been promoted to a top job.
I think he actually was from Rotherham.
Yeah, he was. He was Rotherham.
Yeah, there we go. So, but we've not dropped this fiasco. So a couple of days ago, I wrote to the 4 police areas of Wales: Dyfed Powys, Swansea, or South Wales Police, Gwent, and North Wales Police, and also the commissioners, crime and police commissioners. And 2 of the commissioners have already written back saying, "Oh, we've got nothing to do with it, Gov." So watch this space, because now that they are going to be exposed for not doing anything about female genital mutilation since 1985 in Wales, things are going to hit the fan.
Well,
just a minute. Yeah, regarding the question, you've all got it wrong so far, which I can see on my screen. So you'll need to go back onto my profile and see where I was for the first live feed on Monday. Then you'll know the time. There, I can't be any easier than that, can it? Blinking it. I've got all different times on it, and they're all blinking wrong. So
can I get a little bit?
I understand that you're very easy, Phil.
Yeah, well, don't.
John knows a lot about me, so I got to be really nice to John. Like,
yeah, you've got to be. Yeah.
Do you like my glowing ring?
I've got a bit more to say, Phil. I've been following a couple of court cases.
Yeah.
One of them is a Bradley Gledhill murder by the Carollia brothers, and it sounds like something out of The Godfather, and it is. Him and his 2 mates were just sat somewhere. These guys are pulled up with the car and he's been killed. So initially, the initial reports into the court case, and I did a video about it, 4th of June, and at the end of it, it said the defense of the killers was saying that they suspect that Bradley might have been not as clean whistle as he was. So they was trying to like victim blame. And I pointed out in the video, I said, hang on a minute, what they're saying that for? Are they saying, trying to make it like he's done something bad so it doesn't sound as bad that he's been killed? So the court case has gone on for 6 weeks. Just basic things come out. And at the end of the court case, Bradley's mum's done a piece in the Facebook that everybody, loads of people were attacking her.
Both my batteries are going now. If I disappear, it's because the batteries have gone.
It's all right, Stan. You can leave any time you want, mate. It's not a problem.
Everybody, I don't know who the people were, but was attacking the family, saying that Bradley had done wrong. He had a weapon. It was to do with drugs and all that. And it was nothing of the sort in court. And the thing is, they've been convicted now, but they haven't been sentenced. And the conviction says that they did it for nothing. It's not been classed as a racial attack or anything like that. Nothing about race has been mentioned in the entire thing. And they're getting sentenced on the 30th of July. And what's been going around lately is an increasing amount of people defending murderers and killers. Cole Kershaw in Bolton, there was 30 people protesting on behalf of 2 of the killers. Yeah, they had CCTV footage, DNA evidence, they had phone records to do with the case. Yet there was a protest for 2 of the killers, and I'm expecting these Carollia brothers to have the same kind of thing, and it's ongoing at the moment. And the cases are so brutal, it hardly had any coverage in mainstream news or anything. And but I want to go back to Batley. The teacher thing, why it's connected so much in Oldham is that 2 years ago, a prominent Muslim activist in Oldham said live on Northwest Tonight that if they don't take the sex education out of schools, that there could be riots again in Oldham. This is what this guy said live on telly. And he's part of the same like group who were attacking this teacher in Batley, and we have to do something about this because it's not. There's no law of ours that says you can do things like that. There isn't. It's against the law. And I mean, even
Voice of Wales. Sorry to cut across. Voice of Wales has actually been threatened by the Batley Council, Muslim Council of Wales. The Muslim Council of Batley. We've actually been threatened because we showed the pictures of their so-called prophets of.
Right, listen, you'll have to get in touch with us, Stan, and maybe we can meet up. So, but I mean, the thing is, even criminals, even people who are guilty of things have protection. You can't go around saying you want to kill somebody, even if they're guilty of a crime. And obviously, the teacher is guilty of no crime. You know what I mean? He's guilty of nothing. And we need to put a foot in this and put a stop in this now. If it goes on any further, I can see a lot of things changing, a lot of misjustices and things just more already coming up.
You're absolutely right, because of course Jamie Bulger and his killers have been given identity.
He's gone.
Oh,
his battery's gone. He's more like drinking his red wine, mate. He's probably drinking his red wine. I just saw him drinking a glass, like so. And the thing is, John, Hyde Park, doing Speaker's Corner. That's where I met people on. I'm going to give another clue. It was in the morning on Monday, so all your answers are all wrong. They're all completely wrong.
Listen, so you've been going on with that question for about half an hour and no one's got it.
No, they've been saying past 11. I'll give you a clue. I can't give any more clues than that. They've said 11, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 10 o'clock. But another clue. I was out early.
Can I just
before midday.
Blue light, everyone please get to Batley to support Anne-Marie. Well, whether you support Anne-Marie, UKIP, English Democrats, we want people in Batley, we want Yorkshire people to come out. I'm going up, there's plenty of people from Manchester going up and stuff like that. I don't know if Tommy's going to make an appearance, but
he is going, mate. He's
said he is, but well, I'll talk to you offline, but I just know something that like is not general, and I'll mention to it when we're offline. But yeah, so people need to go Batley. I don't care who you support me, just get up there. And it's looking like I'm going to be taking pictures of different people anyway and doing some filming as well, supporting the English Democrats. But I'm also hoping to be a vote agent and then to get into the vote ring, because I went to Barnsley, Phil, in the elections, and I seen firsthand how easy it can be for voting to be corrupted. These boxes, the boxes that hold our votes and things like that. In front of me, a guy failed to seal a box 3 times. Now, if I hadn't been there, would that box have been sealed? You know what I mean? Little things like that. And when it comes to the count hall, they never asked us to check any seals on the boxes. Yet in the thing about voting and postal votes it says that you can put your own seal on. So somebody should be there to say, do you want to check these seals? Honestly, it's so fraudulent. Now, if you're not into voting or anything, join someone, join up with somebody, become a vote agent, get into the system, see what it's like. It's the best way to learn. I've learned a lot in Barnsley, and I'm going to be learning a lot in Batley. I'm not there to cause trouble. I do want some interviews, but I'm learning me, because I'll be a councillor in a couple of years, and I need to know all the tricks, see all the thinking process. And we're always going on about postal vote fraud, but how do you know unless you've even seen, you've been to the vote count, you've seen the boxes opened? How do you know anything unless you see what's going on. So I had a good time in Barnsley, and I'm hoping will go well in Batley. The English Democrat runner is the deputy chairman of English Democrats, and she comes second in the mayoral elections, and I think she did well in that Batley area in the previous 2016 maybe election as well. So she's got as good a chance as any. But I'm hoping there won't be any trouble. There shouldn't be. I'm not there to cause trouble. I'm there to do a couple of videos. I've got a lot of work to do that weekend. Besides the Joe Cox thing I was saying, I'm doing an analysis report stream on the Joe Cox death. That's another one of my jobs, which is separate than everything. So I've got a lot of work to do, but we want people up there. We want people in Batley. It'd be great. It'd be great.
Yeah. Go back to Tommy for a minute. If he's not going to go himself, he's probably going to send a security team up. To support Anne-Marie, because she'll be giving out leaflets in the area, posting leaflets, and obviously she'll feel vulnerable. To be honest with you, mate.
Of course, yeah. Of course, yeah, definitely. I think she's got a security team anyway, or she's done something on that lines.
Yeah.
And I know there's quite a few people, and she can get a good team together. She will probably get a good team together. So, I mean, although I'm not helping out or anything with For Britain. I don't wish her ill or anything like that. Because if there's one expert who you want to talk to or listen to about the Labour Party, the law and Islam, and it's Anne-Marie Waters. There is nobody else. Not Tommy. It's not. It's not the Robin Tilbrook. Not Daddy Dragon. It's Anne-Marie Waters. The Labour Party, the law, and Islam.
Yeah, she's very knowledgeable. That woman is. She's really knowledgeable. Steve Wilde. If you know the answer, then, and you don't want to steal the prize, just put it down. Give it to somebody you know. The T-shirt. I'll bring the T-shirt with me on Saturday, and you can have it down, mate.
Yeah, blue light going on about the hustings. Yeah, we should be. I don't know if people know, but there's a lad who ran in Anfield called Dylan Cresswell, young Dylan. And when he's gone to the count with his vote agent, he's been kicked out by security by Joanne Anderson, the new Liverpool mayor. And as far as I'm concerned, that's 100% bullying. The thing is, they might do that to him, but would they do it to me? Would they do it to me? Because I'm not somebody who's going to be easily bullied. You know what I mean? So we need to support candidates. Dylan lives in Liverpool. His death certainly will be running again. And I want people who live in Liverpool to support him. I want people who live in Manchester area to support me. Anyone who's running as an independent or any group, if you know them, support them. Go and ask them to be your vote agent. Go get into the thing and see about it all. It sounds really complicated, but it isn't. And no one's going to make change until we start forcing change on them. As soon as we can get independence into councils, it breaks up if a council is full Labour candidates, it's easy for them to cover some up, which happened in Rotherham. Rotherham was all Labour, 99% Labour. It was easy for him to cover things up. But if there had been independents in there, UKIP's in there, English Democrats, it'd have been a lot harder for him to cover things up. So let's break them up. Get help in your local independents. Just get into it. Honestly, being a vote agent, it's rewarding. You get to see firsthand what's going on. You can comment all you like on social media. Now I've been to a voting thing. I'm very commenting. I'm telling it me how it is, and I'm always going to be the same because I've seen it in action. I've seen the failings. So that's what we want to do. We want to support people who are getting into voting, become vote agents, help people canvass and stuff like that. I've already got plans, detailed plans of canvassing missions and campaigns, stuff like that, things to write down on my leaflets and all that. So, I mean, let's get one. Daniel Simpson in Barnsley. his leaflets were expensive, but the waterproof. But he did them off his own back, and he run as an independent. And you know, he's learning all the time, Daniel. And he'll be another one in the future. He'll be ready to be an MP or a councillor and be in a good position. And he's a patriot. So that's what I'm into now. And of course, I still get to my court cases, Phil, and the odd demo when I can. I don't really want to go to London. It's a long day in London. From
it is, mate.
And
like on Monday, I was there. Steve's already won the T-shirt. He did know what he was on about. He did know what time I was there. I was there at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was up at 6:30 in the hotel. Times I had a shower, shave, and then walked over to High Speaker's Corner. It was 8 o'clock, and that's what time their meet was. So yeah, and I didn't get back to the hotel till 7 o'clock in the night. So, and then I went straight on to an interview in the hotel with somebody else who's I'll be doing a Sunday special with, and so my day didn't end until about 2 o'clock in the morning, because I only just started to go through the comments as well. I mean, everybody thinks going on to a demo is just, that's it, you do a bit of filming and that's it. Like,
no, it's never
it's
like
not,
that. Talk it out.
Mate,
you know, I get
it's
it.
24/7.
I get yourself, Phil.
Last week I had over 5,000 comments on my weekend before. Like, I had to go through, and I didn't get through all of them until the Thursday. I had a show to run. I had to edit all my videos. I download my videos and then edit them for the show. It was just constant last week, and then this week I've had the same. I mean, people think we just do a live feed and that's it.
No,
right?
No, it isn't. It isn't. There's so much more work behind it. You know what I mean? And you're doing it all on your own. I have one helper, but you're doing it all on your own. And other people have like 6 people who run the social media and all that. It's just crazy, isn't it? But I mean,
I do have a couple of mods. I do have a couple of mods who are really good, like, so, because obviously I've got to run my group. I've got 3 groups, which I'm 4 groups. I'm 5. Sorry, I'm admin on. And then you've got to make sure there's no dodgy comments. But I have got 2 really good mods. Nat, well, I got 3. I got 3 good mods. And now I've just set up the page as well, so I can see the comments. So it is a lot, because if you notice, there's a lot more comments coming up from Facebook tonight. There wasn't any last week at all, like. So I have really got, and thank you, Jill, and thank you, Nat, for coming on tonight and helping me out. But there is.
Sorry.
Yeah, carry on. Yeah, carry on.
So I mean, London a lot of times, but it's not good enough. We need more direct action, like what Extinction Rebellion are doing. But I don't mean by smashing anything up, but a 90 quid train ticket to London can get me more than 10,000 leaflets. You know what I mean? And even if you're not running as a candidate and you think there's something up in your area, get some leaflets made and post them through everyone's door. Let them know what you think. Get your community together. So 90 quid. So I haven't been to London. I used to go. One year I went to London something like 20 times, Phil. And I haven't since then. The past couple of years, I've just been once and passed it once. And again, if I go down to London, the next time I go down, I'm going to be spending it with Tracy. Tracy,
amazing. She's amazing, mate.
And I'm going to spend the time on that case, but I'm not going to go to London for anything else. I'm going to try and do things up here and focus on up here. Like I said, 90 quid on a train ticket can get me a lot of stuff up here. Leaflets. If I'm getting to be an independent candidate or a candidate for whatever party, I want some money behind me that I can spend on campaigning and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the problem with the big parties. They've got all the funding. You've got to fund it yourself if you're independent. It's an absolute nightmare to get involved in, mate.
Yeah.
It's costly.
we have demos in London because of lockdown. I can understand that it's a central place. It's Boris Johnson, but like if we're doing a demo against child abuse, we should do it where it happened. If it's just something to do with South Yorkshire, we should do it at Rotherham. If it's something to do with Blackpool, we should do it at Blackpool. Something to do with Manchester, we do it at Manchester. If it's something to do with the little town called Evesham Village in Suffolk, that's where we go. We don't go to London to do it. We go to the area that's affected and stuff like that. I mean, over the next couple of years, I've got to get to Peterborough. I want to go to South Yorkshire, and get to doing some reports and stuff like that. But it's just crazy, Phil. It's just crazy.
It's expensive as well, mate. Expensive. Like last year, I did 55 demos. The year before, I did 51. I put on over 20,000 miles on my car each year. That don't. I mean, it is really, really costly. This year, I will do over 55 demos. The last 2 weeks, I've done 6. Well, actually, in 11 days, I did 5 demos, 1 remembrance service, 2 shows, just in 11 days, mate. And this following week, it's just going to be nuts, mate.
I did. I would say I might be about the same. I did about 100 demos in 2 years.
Yeah,
that could be some of. I spoke at some of them, filming, demos, actions, stuff like that, and I did about 100 in 2 years, and it kills you. But I mean, I've met so many good people, Phil, and as soon as you meet people, your cost goes down. Because there's cars that you can get in, you can throw petrol money in and save a third of your cost and stuff like that, So that's how I've reduced my cost. But yeah. I've loved every minute of it, Phil. Mate, loved every minute of it.
I love what I do, John. I do love what I do. I love highlighting the children, the vets, all this lockdown stuff. The immigration, illegal immigration. I've loved doing it. To me, I have loved doing it. And also, to cut the costs on London, I do take Welshie up sometimes. He's a big YouTuber, and sometimes
Welshman.
Yeah, base Welshman. Yeah,
I know Welshie. We know Welshie well. We know him well.
Yeah, so he comes up in my car sometimes on a Friday and comes back on a Sunday. This week he's going up on his own because he's going up on. He might be staying Saturday night. We don't know, but he's bringing his dog this time, so he can't really go up. Cause I'm going up on Thursday, see, and he can't stay away that long. So I'll be there ready for the BBC demo.
So Blackpool's going to be good. We've got people from Scotland, all across Manchester, Yorkshire, down south. I think some might be coming up from the camp. Extra people from the camp. Was it Sean and Tracy?
Yeah,
up, yeah,
they're going. They're staying in my hotel in London this week as well because me, Sean, and Tracy, we always have a drink afterwards. Sarah Pilkinson comes along as well. There's a few of us. Sometimes it's Voice of Wales, but our hotel is now called the Office. But I'm not going to mention it online, obviously, because there's a few people who go there, mate. There's quite a few. So right, yeah. Did you see that comment? Welsh blonde gal. Phil likes attending the camp with his cart and sheep. Somebody photoshopped, right, I was on the horse and cart, mate, and Carrie Ann, who's the admin for the PDSD camp, decided to Photoshop the horse out and put a sheep there instead. Thank you very much, Carrie Ann. I will remember. I do remember. And revenge is sweet. So I can't wait to go back to camp, to be honest with you. I wish I could have been there this weekend, but they didn't decide. The poster didn't go up until about 2 weeks ago, and I already booked my hotel 3 weeks ago. So, I booked for 3 nights. So I have got 3 demos I'm planning to go to. Friday, BBC, London for the big one. The only thing about London is it will spread awareness. It will be the largest demo that this country's ever seen. Last time it was 1.2 mil. I expect there'll be 1.5 mil there this time. So it does spread awareness as well. And what Boris did on the other Monday will definitely increase the numbers, and it'll wake up a lot more people. But I would like to see that sort of numbers on a Wednesday.
Nah, I know I would as well. I'd love to see that amount of numbers, but it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Well, if people want freedom, they're gonna have to do it. Otherwise, they're going to be locked down, carried on being. Because Boris will ignore us on a Saturday. He don't care. The BBC don't show it. GB News won't show it. I don't think. Another thing about GB News, this news station. On Monday, we were in London. I didn't see it. Didn't see him at all. Didn't see him at all. Today, they were outside Parliament with the travel industry interviewing them. It was bang out of order, mate. Do you mean? And I bet you they won't be there on Saturday. So what do you think about GB News then?
I think they did say something about
good night now.
protests. I'm still here, aren't I? Yeah,
you're still there.
They did say something about protests, I think, but no, they didn't. They didn't cover the right things. Some of the stuff they've had on has been all right, but they're still too politically correct, if you ask me. Although I don't know if you've seen when there was 3 of them, there was 2 white women and a black girl, and she was talking about white privilege.
Yeah.
Now, she sounded like she could talk about it, but the 2 white girls were like,
yeah, but it's true.
They were like, they didn't know what to say or anything like that. Honestly, Phil, that's never going to work. That them 2 girls should not be on that show.
Yeah,
the black girl, yeah, but not the other 2.
Yeah, definitely, mate. It was about the white privilege for the working class for education, mate.
A black person comfortable with talking about white privilege, but then 2 white girls not comfortable with not talk. Honestly, I just don't get it, Phil. I just really don't get it, mate.
They've been brainwashed, mate. They've been brainwashed with the BLM rubbish. That's what it is. The BBC have brainwashed them, and the same with GB News. BLM is. I don't really want to go into it too much with BLM. I don't like wasting my time anymore because.
It's crazy, but I mean, like I said, there's loads going on. 30th of July is a sentencing for the Carolia brothers, so we want to be up there. 1st of July is vote day for Batley, so I'm going to be there. Hopefully, I'm going to be in the count hall. I'll be looking around and checking stuff and making sure everything's going fine and getting more experience. So yeah, always busy in Manchester, and we still got the Palestinian-Israel thing to sort out. And in Oldham, they've been bringing kids out holding banners up and stuff like that. So just getting them radicalized when they're young, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And it's fair enough for anyone to protest. I get that, right? And the Palestine and the Israeli situation is a bit like David and Goliath. David is Israel. Goliath is the Israelis, and David is the Palestinians. And David has got a wooden stick, and the Israelis have got nuclear bombs. That's what it's like. But there's already been protesters in London shouting for the murder of Jewish women and the rape of the daughters, arrested for that. Now, what's the next step? I think someone Jewish has been attacked. You know what I mean? Now, that's what I'm against. You know what I mean? I don't care about the fight, but I do care about what they're doing on English soil. And people are shouting for the violence against the school teacher. They're shouting for violence against Jewish women and children. I don't care. You know, I'm not a big fan of Jewish people, but I don't want their women and children threatened in that way in England. It's not right. It's not right. And they've done that right. And what the government should have done, they should have cut all these Palestinian protests off. That's what they should have done after that very first incident. I've never heard on a Tommy Robinson march for us to call for violence and rape women or children. I've never heard that on any demo I've ever been on. And I've never heard anyone say that about the lefties. I've never heard anyone say that about Boris Johnson's family. I've never heard any of us say that, but other people can come here and say what they want and get away with it. And if we would have said that, if you would have said that, Phil, would have never seen you again. You'd have just disappeared off the face of the earth. If I would have said it, same with me, but other people can say it because of political correctness. No, we're not having it. I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
Yeah, mate. As far as protests are concerned, Voice of Wales covered both the Palestine one and the Israel one. The Palestine was violent, very violent at the end. The Israel one was peaceful. But I won't cover either of them because, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to support either of them. My reasons is because I'm more interested in my country first.
Yeah.
I've got bigger fish to fry than other people's problems in other people's countries. Now, if they're going to get violent on protests, then shut them down. Move the riot police in, but they won't, because the police force is woke. Do you mean they support these sort of people on violent protests? Same as they support the BLM, they'll kneel. I totally disagree with it because it just makes the police force look weak.
Yeah.
Weak. Now they need to go in there heavy-handed. As simple as that. No more Don't let them protest in our country. It's not our problem at the moment. We got, like I said, we got bigger fish to fry, like our corrupt government, our lockdown. That's why I will not support either one. I will not voice my opinion on either one, even though I do know the history of Palestine, I do know the history of Israel, and I do know the history of Jerusalem. Do you mean? And that's what it boils down to, is land. So I'm not going to get pulled into that, because as far as I'm concerned, it's wasting my time and it's wasting my country's time. I just wish...
Well, I mean, the Israelis and Palestinians have nothing to do with why Oldham spent 50 million on a cinema when they said they're only going to spend 10 million. We should be focusing on things here first, not getting involved in any kind of war, because getting involved in war is what's caused a lot of the stuff that's going on now.
It's just causing another divide, mate.
Yeah.
It's just another divide. The government are doing a really hard job about this with dividing the public. They do it with politics. They do it with religion. I mean, everything they do is about division, mate, and it doesn't unite the people.
And I mean, I've talked about this before, but I'm not a practicing Christian, but I got brought up with Christian values, and I've met people before, white people, and I've said, I went to Boys Brigade, so did I. Went to Sunday school, so did I.
So did I.
Values have been brought up in me, and I believe that our country should be a predominantly Christian country. But at the moment, they're letting other religions trample our laws with female genital mutilation, like Voice of Wales says. 150,000 victims of female genital mutilation in 10 years to do with Britain. Now, fair dues, a lot of them were done abroad, but that still leaves thousands of operations that have been done illegally over here. Forced marriage, honor violence, and stuff like that. I just get it, but I'm really against no more mosques, total cut off of our immigration system, totally, because we've got mass immigration now. Let me just give you some figures. So from 1950s, when the first Windrush come over, to the year 2000, there was 10 million that came into the country from other British Empire things and other countries. Now, in just 20 years, we've doubled that. So in 20 years, it's 20 million. In 20 years, it's 10 million. So it took 50 years to get 10 million in last time. We've done 10 million in 20 years. And our immigration system is the worst in the world. Everywhere it's failed, everywhere. Even my Windrush generation. They came here, they settled here. There has been some trouble, race riots here and there. Then all of a sudden, in early 2000s, the Conservatives mess the policies up, and then loads of them are getting sent back. And I met a girl who's third generation Windrush, so it was her grandparents who came here, and she had to pay money because of that Windrush scandal. You know what I mean? This is a Jamaican girl, full black Jamaican girl, third generation, born, lived here all her life, and she had to pay thousands of pounds. It's a failure, if you ask me. It's the biggest failure in our immigration ever. And I wouldn't be supporting any more immigration. And I mean, people could say, what about the doctors and nurses? We've got plenty of Indians here who can be doctors and nurses. We've got plenty of Muslim people here who can be doctors and nurses. We've got plenty of Chinese people here who can be clever scientists. So why do we have to keep importing people? And unfortunately, we're not importing any economically viable people. The people who are coming in, Romanians and Polish especially, are the poorest in Europe, and they're coming here with no skills, so they're not bringing any economic value to England. Plus, we've lost all our major industries, so there's no work for them. You know, it's so we seriously, and I mean, some people might think differently, but when you look at the figures, I've just told you, 10 million people between 1950 and 2000. That's 50 years. We've had 10 million in 20 years, and that is just it's not right. Britain's infrastructure and housing is the worst in Europe. When you go to Germany, do you see potholes in the roads? You don't see potholes in the main German city roads. You see them all over England, in every single city. We've got a really bad train system and infrastructure and transport system. Again, one of the worst in Europe. Even some of the lesser countries are better than us. The immigration is not doing nothing to this country. It's making it poorer. And in Oldham, because of immigration, we now have to pay a 500 million pound family back tax credit bill every year, and that is in the top 5 in the country. Actually, I think it's in the top 3 in the country. So it's just poorer, and poorer, and we're not doing ourselves any favors when they bring in points-based immigration. That's not going to make a difference, because we've still got all these people coming over in Dover. We've still got refugees and asylum seekers coming here, and if they said, and there's not a lot of extreme people coming here and all the thousands and thousands. But if one person comes in 1,000 people who's going to blow 22 people up in a concert, I don't want that 1,000 people here, Phil.
Yeah, that's right, mate.
You don't let 10 people that you don't know into your household. You're just not going to do it, because one of them could pinch something. So you're not going to allow the 10 people in. It's simple as that. And I think people are a bit stuck on immigration. They think that we should, we've got to help people. We've helped enough people. We've got enough people here to help. In a bit, in the next few years, we're getting Hong Kongers here, right?
3 million, mate.
Democratic country and all that lot. They're all the poor. They're all the poor of Hong Kong. So
it's China, mate.
In China, yeah, it's all the poor. It's all the poor. We're not getting any doctors and nurses. We're not getting any nuclear scientists. We're getting poor people with no skills. We've already had to set the government, British government, has set aside 40 odd million to support these people. China are buying up everything in England. They're buying up everything in the world because they've got the money to. The biggest economic power. Jordan Gaskell's going to be on my show, and he's done a piece on China. China buying up everything in the world, buying up everything over here. And I mean, we give China foreign aid, yet they have a space program. You just couldn't make it up how shit our system is here, Phil. I'm against it all, honestly.
Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's already okayed 3 million to come in from China, mate. That was at the start of their
G7.
Yeah, no, that was started before the lockdown, mate.
It was.
It's over 5 years. He's going to bring 3 million Chinese people into this country, mate. And going back to Jordan Gaskell, mate, I got a lot of respect for that young lad. Emmy, he's a UKIP candidate, isn't he, Jordan?
18 years old, and he's been demoing since he was 16. And I've got
a lot of respect for him, mate.
I've got a video of the police picking on him in Leeds, and I need to start kicking off with the police because he's only 16. A lefty has tried grabbing his camera, so he's pushed her back, and that got him a Section 5 or Section 3 to get out. And I'm saying to Copper, what you're doing is only 16. Come and pick on me. I'm getting furious about it, you know what I mean? But his election in Wigan, he stood against the Labour Executive Leaders Ward, so he stood in there. There's a lot of stuff for charity and stuff like that, and he's only 18 years old. Honestly, I'm nothing compared to him because I've not even stood yet. You know what I mean? And he's already started standing as a candidate at such a young age. So
he was actually 17, and he was the leader of the youth party of UKIP.
Certainly was,
and that tells you something, doesn't it?
Yeah, and his mate Jack Thompson, he's only 20, and like you said, like Stan said, first thing Jack did was go up and stand outside that school and say his piece. And I want you to get him on show, Phil. Honestly, that these young guns, we need to support them. That's what we need to do. And Jordan knows he'll have whatever I can do. I'll support his next run in Wigan. If I'm not running myself, he'll get support. We've got loads of friends who will support him, and hopefully the same for Jack. He'll get that kind of support. I don't care what party they're in. What I care about is that they're 18 and 20 years old and they're running in elections. And I'm 54 and I haven't run in any election yet. So what I can't slag them off. No one can. Don't matter what the party they're in. How can anyone say anything about them two lads at 18 and 20 years old, respectively?
Yeah, Steve Wild has just said about China. They own most of the water companies, which is very concerning. But they also own a lot of schools now, private schools as well. And that's where the indoctrination will start coming in, as far as communism. We've already got it in this country, indoctrinating for the far left. But going to the streams of communism in universities, they're buying up universities, schools. I mean, they just shouldn't be allowed to do it in our country, which is meant to be a democratic one.
They're selling it off. We're going to be a company owned by all the rest of the country. We're going to be a country owned by all the rest of the countries in the world. I just want to get down to something else as well. So we're getting the poorest of China here. And what China famous for is eating cats and dogs. Now, I'm not saying that it's just going to happen here, but if we're going to get 3 million people in, don't you tell me that some of them aren't going to be chopping up your cats and dogs and throwing them in a curry. That's what they eat over there, and they have it for hundreds of years. And just because they're coming here, don't mean they're going to just stop the other practices. It doesn't mean they're not going to. So what we can expect to see is a lot more Chinese takeaways and stuff like that. Then you'll start having to have your cats and dogs tagged, especially if they're let out in the backyard, because they're going to go missing. You mark my words, crime comes with poverty from around the world, and that's what's going to happen here. And their organised crime thing isn't half as bad as what we have over here with some organised crime gangs, but they're very good at financial crime. Very good at financial crime. So your banks aren't going to be secure. Your private savings account's not going to be secure. It's not. And it's going to end up by China. Everything's going to end up with, fucking hell. Jordan's done a piece actually about it, and he's got it in Unity News Network. And I'm going to have him on my show, going a bit more in depth into China, the economic power it is, how much power it can still gain, its influence in other worlds. There's loads of trouble in Australia with China because they're buying up Australian resources like mad and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'd like to have Jordan on the show as well sometime because he's very knowledgeable. Like you said, he's only 18, but he's got a mind unbelievable, like doing for a youngster anyway. Always taught. He's in one of my Brexit groups. He is on Telegram, but he's very knowledgeable of what he says, like doing. So I do know Jordan anyway. I'm gonna wrap this show up. I am. We've been on here 2.5 hours.
Oh, Phil, I've done 5-hour streams, me.
Oh, mate. The longest one I've done. This is my 5th week of doing the show, and my longest one was like 1 minute 20 something. But I have done shows before when I was on ACCA. Me and Paul Camden used to do shows, and they did last about 2 hours sometimes, like. But this is probably my longest one on here. But you and Stan have been brilliant, mate. But awesome to you, mate.
I know, awesome to Stan. Honestly, I could talk all night, me facts and figures and stuff like that I know. Yeah. But you know, the worst thing is, Phil. The worst thing is, I know stuff that can't come out in the public domain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not yet, because there's court cases on. A friend of ours, he's come on some of my streams on Street Soldiers channel, the John Lawrence show, and his daughter, he's from Oldham. His daughter's from Oldham, and there's a case now, their case of where she was groomed, and there's 11 or 12 men involved, and it you know, like, he said it on my show. I've talked to him, and I can't say nothing else about it because there's that much restrictions on it, you know. And I know things from across the country that just can't be. It's one of the worst feelings, actually, that I can't say nothing until the court case is finished, or you know, until there's a conclusion to an inquiry or something like that. And I'm not the only person. I've met dozens of people who have to keep quiet for whatever reason at the moment. Now, if I could broadcast names, I would do. You know what I mean? But I just can't until cases are over and stuff like that. And like in my particular case, when I got stabbed, all the lads were under 18, and I couldn't say nothing about them. They told me I couldn't say nothing about them. And I went, what, is that until they're over 18? Yeah. I wrote the names down, and when they were 18, I stood in Manchester and I screamed out the names. You know what I mean? Oh, kid, Phil, oh, kill me.
Well, I'm doing a documentary at the moment, and I can't really say anything about it because there's possibility there'll be a court case. And until if the court case goes ahead, or if it doesn't go ahead, I can't really say anything. But that'll be an interesting 2-hour documentary, and I'm telling you what, it'll be fun to watch, mate. It'll be fun to watch because I've spent the last 6 months putting it all together, and I was in the right place at the right time. That's all I can say, and it will shock a few people. I'd say about 11,000 people it will shock. And but you know who I'm on about, but I don't want to put it on you. So it'll be fun. I've got a couple of documentaries actually in the pipeline. I've got actually 2. Somebody else, but I'm going to keep that one wrapped. So I'll tell you after the show, like doing. But I am going to end the show, folks. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all my mods. Thanks to all my guests. And Steve, you had the right answer for the t-shirt. I'll be back next week at 8 p.m. Please, folks, could you please share this live feed as well? Could you also join my Demo Welshman YouTube channel, which I've just set up? Also, join my page, Live News and Demo News. I've got a group and I've got a page. Now, if you join the page, I can see all your comments like I have tonight. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next week. I'll keep an eye out for my lives as well over the weekend. Keep an eye out over John Lawrence as well.
5 o'clock Friday, I'm doing my Joe Cox analysis one, and that's really good, that. And then all weekend, I'm around Batley, so I'll be streaming. There'll be other people streaming for Britain. They're active over there, the English Democrats, or Daddy Dragon's channel. He'll be on and stuff like that. So get on it and get liking and sharing and commenting.
Yeah, so if everybody could follow John as well, John Lawrence. Is it just Facebook or is it YouTube as well? Is
Facebook,
it just
my profile on Facebook is John Lawrence. My page is called In the Box.
Right. Yeah.
And then my YouTube channel is John Lawrence. I do have other links to other channels, but them are my main stuff.
Okay. All right. Good night, all. And I'll catch you all next week. Bye.
See ya.